Find it on Twitch. Then the link. Kingdom TV. Like a Twitch. We were live as of 22 seconds ago. That's pretty exciting, gotta be honest.
So I'll obviously try and stay out your way as far as talking about NSE goes. I wouldn't mind coming in on the EURC stuff because I have the perspective of someone who's involved with multiple countries' leagues, whereas everyone else mostly just knows about their own. That being said, though, I am probably going to have to rush off at 8:30 and might not be around till 9. So I'm probably going to miss a bit where you're actually talking about EURC.
Okay, who knows where we will be and when. As of everyone, you are probably the most welcome, therefore we will ban you. And I'm afraid that means that you're just not welcome at all. But yes. Right. Leave it starting soon for now. The room is in followers only mode. Ha! We showed them. I've got points. I've got 4.4k points. I can highlight my own message. Write something in chat. Yo. Redeemed, highlight my message. Pretty exciting. Ooh. Trying to manage audio levels and it's fun. Too loud, but that's too quiet. Or is it too quiet? Not sure. Oh, you highlighted a smiley face. That's. I don't need my controller on my lap anymore. I'm no longer clapping people. And you know what? I'm gonna go find the sheet. Right. Gotta check that that's still the right thing. We'll start with week 2. Yes, yes. Alright, let's hide this. And show the almighty sheet. And switch the almighty overlay to talk about week 1, except we're actually talking about week 2 results. This is a lie. Do not pay attention to the overlay. It's actually week 2. And what happened in week 2 is a good question. What are the most important things to note? Outside, Trent used a substitute for Johnny. They played with Roofy, is that right?
Yep, that's right.
And Kent no longer had all-rounder, number 80, not just any all-rounder, the 80th one. And Aliame stepped in for Kent. So obviously both teams were coming in on a high. Kent 3rd seed, as you can see. Trent 1st seed. I can't think of any more subs. Oh, I can. And that is that week 2 Salford were playing with Jake Adams.
Jake Adams.
Instead of Aorana. As was rumoured. And we believe it may be a permanent gas.
Another roster being Wilbur being replaced by no one on the Bournemouth team. During the 3rd series.
Yeah. It was interesting to see what happened with Bournemouth. I mean, we could start with
I'm sure
Bournemouth.
We'll get on to that at some point.
I mean, I don't mind starting with Bournemouth there. Bournemouth, like Kiel, were the first teams so far this season to have a 9-game week where you don't even play 10 games because all your series are 3-0s. At least Kiel did win their first series 3-0, and that was actually quite a surprising result, I'd say. I mean, it was obviously the first test for the new Jake Adams Salford, and they probably hadn't had time to gel a lot, but Kiel getting a series win, let alone a 3-0 there, I was actually pretty surprised about. Definitely a good result for them. They did, of course, go on to get swept 3-0 by Portsmouth, which isn't a big deal for them, I'm sure. And they'll probably be disappointed that they got swept 3-0 outright by Sussex, I guess. But Bournemouth, Bournemouth decided that they wouldn't bother winning a game 3-0 and they'd actually just lose all series 3-0 and get relegated without winning a game. And in their last game, they wouldn't actually play it. For the record, they technically went 8-0 because they forfeited their 9th game, which was understandably frustrating. Whether they'll play regionals remains to be seen. Stats for it are, I guess, interesting. And the stats for you, Matt, I believe made quite fun in terms of fetching the stats from a game that didn't happen.
Yeah, that certainly was an experience.
It's that's okay. So we can try and look at stats at the same time as looking at the results. But as you can see, when I scroll around, all you see is obviously NSE stats poggers. and the stats I have to zoom out in order to see all the players. But we do have them, as it was completed today. We did take our time with it.
Like live officially?
Are we live? I guess we are.
I know, because we just sort of launched into it.
Yeah, we just sort of. It's just so chill.
When we started.
I'm sorry, but we're just roll. You know, why does anything have to start and anything have to end? Why can't everything just be in a constant state of flux? You know? Why can't we all just be... Yeah. Geordie says, forgot to tell people we don't have Psycho this week, so it's me, Esper, and KVZ. Well, that is interesting.
My predictions then.
That's a good point. Let's just sidetrack. Let me find my own predictions. I already had it going to 5 against Warwick. Ooh.
I'm then just gonna change it from a sweep on Newcastle to a 3-1.
This is an enormous opportunity for Newcastle, right? And Loughborough and Brighton, as this is definitely, if that's the case, a huge potential for a 3-point week. You know what, Warwick? How about Warwick just go wild? There we go. As I've learned, every time I have to do 3-1, it's never 3-1. 3-1s just don't seem to happen in NSE. It's either 3-2 or 3-0. 3-1s just don't really happen. Of course they do happen, but just not very frequently. Yes. But that is an interesting bit of information. Meow is here. I don't know how to pronounce CYB, 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 CYB. I'm going to go with that. But yeah, last week was an interesting one, and it shook up the standings a little bit. I can just quickly check the overall standings afterwards, I guess. Yeah, the standings are somewhat legible here, I think. See Portsmouth on 20, trailed by an actually obviously better team, who only have 15, due to some scams. And it ends up being very funny. Of course, the UWE managed to have a 50% series win ratio for the season, because they got a 3-pointer and a 7-pointer, whereas Warwick and Sussex have back-to-back 5-pointers. And UWE go above them, because they got 7 points in the most recent week. But we're going all over the place at the moment. Let's just focus on not week 1, but week 2's results. And, you know, we didn't really know how the promoted teams were going to go, but they both took a game, perhaps when you wouldn't expect them to. Although I guess Trent were using a sub for Hertfordshire White. But Sheffield did take a game against a full roster of Portsmouth, which is, you know, testament to they're not just here for the most miracle run to nationals. They're actually here to take a game every now and then and not get relegated, as we found out. That's kind of cool, I think it's fair to say. Is it not? Like,
yeah, that's a good run from both the promoted teams, like starting off strong.
To not go straight back down. Whereas, to be fair to University of Birmingham Bath, they went straight back up. But we'll get on to regionals, because obviously, you know, we get on to it. Yeah? So Kent trying to hold their 7-point week and in general hold their season together without all-rounder for a week didn't go too well. They got swept by Loughborough, who were taking full opportunity, despite being 14th seed, to end up getting a very strong 7-point week, actually. Very opportunistic for Loughborough. Don't know who they lost to in the last game, but it wasn't very close. The BCU... They swept there. Yeah, well, they
start
played
of Bournemouth's woes.
It was the start of the pain for Bournemouth, wasn't it? It was, yeah. I mean, fair play to BC. Statistically a very robust side. But yeah, we talked about the Salford game. A little bit surprising, but I think they grew into it. And then a very important Sussex against UWE game. I feel like, is that due to happen round 2 this coming week? I think it is, depending on results, I guess. And of course, if the fixtures we have lined up for week 3 are actually correct, which, as confident as I were in them, I was very confident in the ones in week 1, and they turned out to be wrong. So I'm just going to assume that it's wrong, effectively. But Warwick, they 3-1 Brighton. It's, you know, I mean, if Brighton want to be like proving themselves, that's sort of a game that would be important for them to take. I don't know how close that series was. I don't know if any of the players themselves are here, but that's certainly one that I'd like to watch. I can't remember what the stream showed for that round. In fact, I know they streamed Portsmouth UWE last, but I can't remember the other one.
It's still up in streams. So it was Warwick versus Brighton, then BCU versus UWE.
It was on the stream. I was probably playing, so couldn't watch it.
But that's another solid week from Warwick. I mean, let's not forget that they're in the fray for the edge of 6th at the moment.
Warwick are definitely going under the radar right now. Consider that I don't think many people even had them in their top 10 when we were doing predictions at the start of the season.
That is true. I would like
Everyone respects Warwick as being a solid team, but I don't think anyone thought they had what it took to push towards the championship bracket this season.
Let's just hold that sheet capture. I want to go back and have a little look at the casters' prediction sheet, which I do have somewhere. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, that's going to make interesting viewing. Because so there are people predicting Salford to win, Sussex to win. That kind of stuff hasn't really panned out so far.
Well, Sussex have been plodding along gently. At any time they could just turn up, and they're still in the right place to stay in contention.
You see, of course, you'll see a lot of very high-ranked Salford. Of course, we would not know that situation would evolve. Princey had Bath in 5th. Is, I think a little optimistic, but, breakout play of X, it aligned up with all your prediction. We are at a technically halfway point, so it's probably a good time to view these. He had Sussex in 1st, which, Sussex are really interesting. Because they do have their full roster now. Of course, they started with a hard week 1 because of the lower seed they qualified with due to not having Distant in qualifying. But they've had a full roster. I'm still hurt for your... I'm sorry. Saib from Cyber. Saib. I'm sorry, and I hope you're no longer hurt from my poor pronunciation. But Sussex aren't hurt from not having a full roster because they've had it back-to-back weeks, and I mean their results, you'll probably argue, have been okay.
Yeah, and on paper they're doing quite well.
But it's
they've all been shooting like madmen. Their shooting percentages are through the roof.
I mean, they had a hard game week 2.
They just drop a game 1 or 2 each week.
Yeah, they lost 3-1 to UWE, which is not an easy game, but with the roster, and as you can see how highly they were predicted, almost exclusively in the top 3 of practically everyone, you would be expecting them to beat UWE. But
it's just the fact that they're dropping matches to teams like that. It's the fact that they haven't got many wins against teams like that should be concerning them.
Yeah, I mean, they played BCU week 1 and got swept.
Yeah, I don't recall the last time they played against one of their championship bracket sort of rivals and actually got a result this season. I don't know if it actually happened.
Yeah, BCU and UWE are the sort of teams where you would be expecting them to finish maybe 4th and 5th. They're definitely playoff contenders, and Sussex wants to be losing both the series against them kind of hurts. If they got one of them, then it'd be okay, but they drop a game to Birmingham, which it's not a big deal, and then they did beat Newcastle 3-2. That's kind of one of their best results right now, though. But then Newcastle is sort of a team on 6 points, right? You think that it's going to be... They're going to need a 10-point week this week, which is possible in order to contend for playoffs. But the only reason why that is possible is due to, matches lining up and subs that we're expecting to occur. It's a 3-2 over Newcastle is their best result. It's probably they were expecting better, but they might grow into it. Definitely could be. Could grow into it. Except what on earth? I'm being
nosy. We'll be able to talk about that a little bit more if Distan comes on later.
That's true.
Another topic that might be worth talking about is the resurgence of Loughborough.
The resurgence of Loughborough, which we're gonna definitely put down to an opportunistic, non-full roster Kent. That being said, even if they had their full roster, this is probably going to be a very close series. And they do beat Warwick 3-2, which is actually a huge result.
Yeah, I was very much expecting Warwick to be in that last match.
Yeah.
So, from going to relegation match in week 1, Loughborough have turned it around.
That is season saving. And in theory, they have a chance to get another good week this week. They take the 4th seed. And with the seed swaps, it actually works out pretty nice for 4th seed. They'll be playing... They will be... There. They'll be playing the winner...
Written them in the order. So...
Yes. of
Give
course.
me a sec.
They'll be playing the winner of Newcastle and Brighton. So effectively, if Loughborough can see off Hertfordshire White, which, given their last week, you'd expect them to be able to do, then they will play the winner of Newcastle Brighton, and that means that effectively one of those three teams is going to be in contention for a 10-point week, which is a big deal, especially for the standings, because 10-point weeks are very important. But like, if you have a look at the standings, like how much could that really boost them? There are 9 points right now. Even a 7-point week will put them on 16, and that means they're almost certainly going to overtake UWE, Warwick, and Sussex. Like maybe 2 of the 3 of them to go to 16, because 2 of them teams are probably going to get a 5-point week.
Everyone that's on 8 points or above right now is still pretty much level pegging with the teams above them. It's the teams below that should be concerned if they're still harbouring aspirations of reaching championship brackets.
Yeah, I think the only one that really has a shot right now is Newcastle, who on 6. If they can pull out a 10-point week on Tuesday, that puts them right back into the fray. But it needs to be 10 points, I don't think. Well, 7 wouldn't really.
No team has ever failed to reach championship brackets while scoring 22 points or more. This could be the season that changes because things are very close at the top. But I'd still bank on the number. That's the sort of number you've got to be aiming for.
Yeah.
So 8 points is below par, but it's not the end of the world. You can pull that back with a couple of good weeks, or just one very good week.
Yeah, interestingly, like Loughborough's success, we can look at the overall stats, or maybe just this. But just look at week 2, because we're still on week 2 right now. As of what they did this week, it's over here. If I can not be blind, and like they don't really contend in like having super high, but I believe they had pretty good shots conceded. They missed out on the podium for reducing shots on their net by 0.01 a game. That's losing out to Warwick? No, Sussex. No, that's
BCU.
It's BCU. I was right first time. And only having 5.9 shots on your goal per game is definitely a lot. It's pretty good.
It does go away to stopping you conceding, which they've been able to do reasonably well.
Yeah.
Sure, their goal differential for this week doesn't look incredible, but how much of that's down to their last match that was a sweep?
I think they actually
deflating their stats.
Yeah, overall, even in like week 1 included, despite the fact that they only got 2 points week 1.
Yep, 2 points.
They still reduced the number. Like maybe they just weren't saving the shots, like, or weren't scoring the goals. It's like, I mean, to be fair, I remember their shooting percentages in week 1 not being very good, so it was probably that. Like they still weren't giving up shots on the net, and overall, they're on the podium for reducing the number of shots. The only 2 teams that have a better ability to stop shots going at their own net are Lancaster and Portsmouth, who are Portsmouth have their neck in front of the pack. We will have our after Tuesday. We will have our neck in front of the pack. Let's put it that way. We played with a sub and got predicted for 9th. Feels bad, man. Well, that's a good point. I want to go back to caster predictions, because caster predictions definitely didn't really know where to place people like BCU, UWE, and Trent. We do have a good idea about that now, but you can see that due to the uncertainty, people were pretty skeptical about where quite to put them. Trent obviously seems like it pretty much depends on their full roster being there, which I assume it will be this week.
I mean, the concerns around with Trent was that Nottingham Trent's RL rep had spent months DMing Johnny over the winter break and hadn't had a response. So it was seriously doubtful whether Johnny would even be playing this season. But they have him like the week before NSE started. With UWE, it was just the fact, it was a question of how quickly they could turn into a cohesive team, because the information I was getting was that Jordan Incognito were barely Grand Champ, whereas Jordan's now 1800.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a bit of a miscalculation there. As for Birmingham City, though, we pretty much knew they'd be like this. The only question was maybe over whether Rottweiler was going to have time to play. But I think we were fairly confident, given he played the previous season, that Birmingham City were going to be roughly where they are now.
That's fair. Still, the predictions do have Loughborough making playoffs. Will it be clutch? Will it not be Loughborough? Across the... I'm sorry, Loughborough. I have you 7th. And you know what? I stand by that. Next week is going to be the week. And then the week after that is going to be the week. The next week we're going to know, yeah.
I don't think I even put Loughborough in the top 10 because...
What?
It's because the past few seasons it's always been sneaking into playoffs in 6th.
Whoa.
And it was my philosophy that with the stronger field this season, that's not going to be
You had them
viable
9th, you had them
anymore.
9th, you had them 9th, you had them 9th.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Which, if their next week goes poorly, like if they either lose to Hertfordshire White or Brighton/Newcastle, then that's definitely possible. It's gonna be, yeah. These predictions are so interesting. Who's this big brain person you put? Oh, that was me. Of course, why did you put Lancaster first?
I mean, you guys have done marvellously well in avoiding praising yourselves too much for this week, but you do deserve an awful lot of credit for that 10-point week, wasn't it?
That's okay. We'll get onto that. We've got an hour segment dedicated to that, honestly. Actually, I think a 2-hour segment? Yeah. Oh, 3 hours. Sorry, 3-hour segment.
Yeah. Mathematically, on 15 points now, unless you literally lose 2 matches both weeks, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the points you need to be in championship brackets.
That's fair. We were definitely one of the beneficiaries of Trent having to use a sub, so it's hard to say which way that series was going to go. Had they got their full roster, as we've only played a best of 3 against them before. So then having to play Loughborough in the final game, which obviously is an aftershock of the wave that Kent made in week 1. Which, I mean, maybe Loughborough would just burn out or something. Our series against them felt like an attack versus defense exercise, and I don't know how their shots against their net per week remained so low, as it felt like that sort of thing, but I'm not sure. Either way, you could have streamed that series instead. It would have been funny to cast. It was weird. It was really one of the weirdest series I think we've ever played. But you know, that's why. Obviously, if Egregious was on the field, then things would have been more terrifying for us. But that's just merciful of them not to do that. Where was I? I mean, there was a lot of predictions on the sheet. I'm really curious at all of them. Like, we have Salford in first here, but you couldn't have known. But it was... Oh, initially went to look at just how high Sussex were across the board. It's like, what does Sussex have to do?
They've been predicted pretty strongly.
Like, they were predicted super high. I remember this time being on that podcast and being like, yeah, this is going to be like the season. This is like... And understandably, like, they were a team to be feared of on paper, given their previous performance last season and what could only be considered a roster improvement after that. Yeah, like they've
been playing incredibly evenly as well.
Yeah, they've got very similar stats across both weeks.
Yeah, it just feels like they're a team that should be doing well, but they're just not getting the results to back it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, back to week 1 and week 2, right? They lost their first game and then couldn't do much more other than beat the teams in front of them to go for a 2-1 week, but is inevitably 5 points. This week, their first game is against Salford, which is a very big game for both teams, right? Like, if Salford, with their roster change, can win that series, that's huge for them and could potentially keep any hopes they have of playoffs still alive, because they still have that 8 points. Whereas Sussex, like, that is their huge opportunity to win their first game. Then they will most likely get that cursed rematch against UWE. And if they have, had that time to readjust to, we are playing with Distan, that is where they really have to win that series, I feel.
Yeah, we'll see how they do if they get the momentum under them.
Yeah. And then
their wins when they've had them have been convincing.
Yeah, and like if they win that series against UWE, then they're on for a 7 or 10 point week where they have to beat obviously Lancaster. But if Lancaster get mass DCs and they lose to BCU, then they'll have to be BCU, which would be the ultimate redemption arc for them, beating the 2 teams that they've lost to. That would be the series reviver, season reviver.
For Sussex, it is absolutely crucial that they get either a 7 or a 10 point week. Because if they get 2 more 5 points, they're currently on. They're currently on 10. And I don't know if 20 points will be enough to actually make championship brackets.
At this rate, we don't know who they'll play. We don't know who they'll play week 4. All we know is that this week is a big opportunity where they could make that difference.
There's an opportunity that they pretty much have to take because they're currently 7th. They need to be able to leapfrog some of the teams above them.
Very true, very true. They're running up against, obviously, UWE and Warwick. Warwick, who are, you would say, on a rough schedule, running into Portsmouth round 2, but if Portsmouth are using a sub, that's going to be a very interesting series. See how it goes.
Yeah, that's Warwick's chance to steal the season, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a big problem for UWE and Sussex if Warwick pick up 7 or 10 points next week.
It is. There's all, it's so, yeah, like there's definitely teams who are going to get kicked to the curb this week, depending on those round 2 matchups.
Birmingham City and Nottingham Trent probably won't slow down unless they're missing players or something.
Yeah, until they're beaten by
Portsmouth and Lancaster are probably a little too far away to catch. Like both those teams, unless they really start dropping loads of points, are going to make championship bracket now.
Yeah.
So it is crucial, that dogfight between UWE, Warwick, Sussex, and I guess the teams below them as well, Loughborough, Brighton, Salford, are all still in it. The teams below can still in it, but they need to pull off something big this week.
True.
They're at the point where they need either a 10-point week or like 2 7-point weeks to do it.
It's true. Last week's stats. Let's go stat mode on the teams. Of course, the cool stat was the 9 points, the 9 games for Kiel and Bournemouth. Shout out to Salford getting them. They managed to get a 1 series win. No, was it? Yeah, 1 series win and 2 series losses with the minimum game win percentage, just 27%. I think they won their series 3-2 and lost 3 of the other games. That is right. That is efficiency right there. No wasted effort.
It's impressive.
It is. What did they have else? They were second in saves. They were being forced into a lot of saves. Likewise, Warwick were, they were just jealous of Brighton week 1. They decided to start making 5.12 saves per game, which is kind of a long way ahead of second and third. That's quite a lot of difference. What else did a Salford? Where are the Salford? They were third in assists per goal, which back-to-back weeks now, and this week by a distance, 95% of goals from Portsmouth assisted. 95%.
Yeah, that's for 2 different rosters as well.
95.
One with a sub, one without, but they still are linking up on every play they're making.
95%.
And that's a lot of goals as well that are almost entirely assisted.
Yeah, like the more goals you score, which they were scoring the second most that week, the more likely it is that less are going to get assisted. But no, apparently when they realise it's not going to be assisted and the ball's trickling across the goal, they just say, nah, let's just not score it, and then pass it back across the goal so they can get the assist. That, I believe, must be what they were doing. And Portsmouth did also restrict the most shots from going on their net. Only 5.28 shots a game given up. While shooting, third high shooting percentage. They were cool in a lot of stats. Not as cool as another team. They got a lot of goals. I don't know who that team was. They were really cool though. They were what a team that is. Honestly, incredible team. Fantastic. I couldn't fault them.
Speaking of Portsmouth, UWE seem to have something on them that no other team does. Like, the win in qualifying, if I remember correctly, they had a 2-1 lead in the last match of this week. Before
I was surprised that actually Portsmouth, I think, were they winning as well, UWE in game 4? I can't actually remember, but I was watching it. I was half watching it. And I was kind of like, I think UWE are actually going to beat them again. And then suddenly, they didn't. Which is definitely a big regret for UWE, because an extra 3 points could really have made things more nicer for them. Like an extra 3 points here. Portsmouth would have been on 17, and UWE would have been on 13. That would have been very close. Things would have been squeaky bum time right there. But it was not to be. It was not to be. UWE, the most boring team, with not a top 3 in anything. Nothing. Actually, Boost. Boost. And we all care about Boost, don't we? Yes. That much Boost. Nowhere near as much Boost as the 1,400 collected by Salford. I don't know. Maybe, despite that amount of Boost, they still got a 3-point week. I don't know how. I think it was Askey who actually had a ton of Boost stats, but that is a lot. They're only just more. Only 7 across the team is basically nothing. Than Newcastle, who were also really boring. Just middle ground. I don't have the averages for individual weeks, but we do on the total sheet. That is going to be interesting to check. because he's obviously contributed, weighted depending on how many games, to the overall averages for the season, which will also be great to look back after we have 4 weeks of data to add to it. Oh, that's okay. Obviously, this is all to see. If you need the link for the stat sheet, I believe it is pinned in NSC General if you'd like to browse yourself. Sadly, of course, Bournemouth didn't have the insane performance of Wilbur, just like last week. Where I can find him. Where's he gone? Am I blind? Here he is. He did not. He did still. No, he didn't. He missed out on the podium for percentage of his team's score. I want to zoom out a little bit. It will be. Yeah, it's going to look really weird now. Now I can see the whole table. That's an improvement. Let me check the stream. Yeah, it's better. I don't know why this bit's highlighted. It appears cursed. Don't look at that. There's nothing to see here. This is percentage of team score.
I think we all knew that performance wasn't going to be repeatable.
Yeah, it wasn't very sustainable, but it would have been very impressive if it was. He did still get 44% of his team's score, which is quite a damn large margin, but he does miss out to 3rd place. That was actually me, apparently, but we know that was a scam. That was because of a particular 9-1 game against Newcastle. And 44.7%. But speaking of Newcastle, Raffro. But apparently, according to the most... Well, actually, that's a huge margin. 47% of his team score is Kiri. But they did get relegated. And he did use a lot of boost. I'm all for someone using 47%. Pardon? I have no idea. I think Cineris has just been raided by the FBI. Everyone press F. I honestly think he's being attacked. Yes, he did say something happening at 8:30. He has been abducted. The men in suits have him. If anyone would like to take up the administrator position for NSE, then please submit your CV in the description below. We are looking for someone. Please help. SOS Mayday. That genuinely sounded like they had AKs. They had everything. That was, yeah. I'm gonna take a moment of silence before pointing out that 47% of your team's score is ridiculous, but you are using 45% of your team's boost. You are generally playing like it's 2v2, except somehow your teammates have got to pick up the remains. And shout out to substitute Aliame, technically got more score for the boost that she used than Kiri. I don't really know the dynamic of how that team worked. I would probably be supported for more even distribution of resources. However, Mike did shoot, I think, 4% last week or something.
Yep, 4% last week, 14% this week.
That's popping off right there. That
just doesn't cut it.
I mean, they got a 7-point week last week with 4% shooting percentage.
But they were negative in goal differential last week. I think, looking at the stats, the writing was on the wall that this week
it's gonna be tough.
They couldn't do the same, especially having to pull an Alia instead of all-rounder. But we've seen that going down to the regionals isn't the end of the story. Both teams re-promoting this week means with Alia on PC now, that's extra chance to bring it back up.
University of Birmingham actually nearly swept their way back, only dropping 1 game at the end to Durham. And those sweeps did involve Leeds and Scouse boards, not teams to be shirked off. Kind of cool. Respect to Durham to making it to the qualifier gaming as well. Despite being initially 14th seed, they beat Staffs, Aberty, although I'm not familiar with Aberty. They did beat Arctic Foxes 3-2 though, so very, very, very much high respect for Durham, and they will have a much higher seed this next week, I imagine. So we definitely could see Durham contending to get promoted this coming week.
And especially it's 2 southern teams that went down this week.
Good point, actually.
So the field's clear. They just have to have the same level of performance as this week, and in the coming week they'll be up.
That is true. Can we go against Portsmouth next week, says Misty. I mean Tuesday. That's true. I mean, Portsmouth even with subs have ridiculous assists per goal ratios. So just give them open nets and you'll know that they won't shoot them. They'll pass them before they put it in. I will give you the time. It just doesn't appear that Loughborough are going to get 2 teams in nationals.
The Bees haven't been doing as well as their legacy.
I don't get it. They have on paper they should be not losing their round 1 games, but maybe with University of Birmingham out of the pack, because obviously University of Birmingham knocked them out. Not that Scout Sports are an easy game at all, to be fair. That's a hard difficult one to start with. But just like maybe no. This is it. This if they don't get promoted this coming week, that's it. Just no. Just no. If a Loughborough is going to get promoted, it has to be this coming week, with 2 Southern teams demoted. But then they're going to have to beat Durham. But there's also Scout Sports and Arctic Foxes. There's also teams like Staffs. This is not easy. Anyway, Southern Regionals, which we all know are super stacked. If you're in South and you are, looking for a cool name, do remember that you can't beat Warwick Bubble Butt Bottom Boys. Who, as I am very sad, didn't manage to promote this week. But it was the return of Bath. You had a little bit more of a shaky road, dropping again to Portsmouth before back-to-back Game 5s against the return of Reading, which was definitely interesting to see how that would do. And if Reading did promote back this coming week, I wouldn't be surprised at all, because we all know they're very capable. And then beating Southampton in Game 5 as well, which was streamed, and I do recommend watching. It was entertaining. Maybe next week we'll get to see people like Warwick D's Nuts as well, or any other great Warwick team. But with both Hertfordshire and Kent coming down, this suddenly... Bournemouth, sorry.
Although Bournemouth have disbanded now. So
that is true.
That's not a threat.
Maybe they'll come back. Maybe.
I think that's probably final.
Oh, but last season they went down for a week, got back, and were like annoying. They beat someone, I can't remember who. The league play. I don't remember. My memory. I don't think I'm being lied to.
They did.
So.
Yeah, they did go down and come back up.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think the disheartening demotion might be the nail in the coffin for Bournemouth.
Who's this guy? My God, so many stats. That's crazy. Imagine having that many goals and that many assists per game. This guy, he barely scored anything. He's barely got really any goals. Isn't he? He's not even... Imagine getting 1.14 goals a game and not even being top 3 goals per game. Shout out to Geordie there, getting 3rd in goals per game, putting up the numbers. Second, of course, was referee. Score per game, Madden, with that 7-point week, sees himself sneak onto the podium. As we all know, score per game means everything. Ferrell, I must shout out, as if we go to the overall stats, Ferrell, I believe, has the highest score per game for this season. Also finds himself at one
consistently good performances.
He also finds himself in the over 1 boost score per boost club, which is an exclusive group resided only for him. Distan, a really cool guy, and Hades, if you're here, this definitely shouldn't go under the radar. That this is a man getting nearly 400 score a game on only 360 boost per game, which I believe if we go to the averages for overall. The average boost that a player is getting per game is 420. Of course it would be 420, but 60 less per minute than that, and you're still putting up 400 score a game. Very high plaudits for Mr. Hades. That's very impressive. Like that's pretty damn cool. Boost, yeah, of course we touched on Kiri's boost. Walden is apparently addicted to it, and that is Sebedam. Yes. Any other standouts? I can't remember. Saves is going to Goffer. Is it Kiri second on saves? Third, Hades, of course. Hades the man. Psycho's at 1.1 assists per game. But that was, of course, last week. We could shift it to the overall. I want to look at the overall. Oh my goodness, this is huge. This table is massive. Who made this? And how sad are they? We haven't gone to find the top 3. Yeah, I only marked the top ones. Damn it. Ah, yes, of course. Wilbur, in the 2 seasons that Bournemouth were in Nationals, was a part of 86% of his team's goals. The average for someone on any team is to be part of 57% of your team's goals. Wilbur decided that he would be a part of 86, which, if you look for second place, I'm 74. There's a 74.57. That's Ferrell. 77, actually, example, 77 is still nearly 10% lower than that. And obviously these stats will move with the season. Each week we have. Of course, it's easier to get more extreme stats when you've played less games, like Paul Wings of Freedom. Doesn't have the flattering stats, but only played 5 games. And if there's any mistakes in these and you're looking over, please do point them out to us, as I'd like to keep it up to date. And I can point out that yes, Ferrell is highest, in score per game. Over 22 games, averaging 437, pretty damn cool. If you can turn that into an important round 1 win this coming Tuesday against Newcastle, then that could definitely upgrade the season. Also finds himself at the highest shots. Quite cool. Very cool. Assists per game goes to Esper though. But we can say that's biased by the fact he's only got 12 games. In terms of close to that, it's literally his teammate Psycho. So, Portsmouth, as we know, are addicted to assisting. Who's highest on shooting percentage? Fisk. Fisk, of course. Sussex, I think, as a team, are shooting fantastically. Am I correct? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Their shooting percentages, all of them.
Oh, my
over
goodness.
30% constantly.
Oh. That's the quality we were expecting. They are the top offense in the league as well. Like, look at this. Highest score per game. Highest goals per game. They don't care.
But you've got to say, at that rate, you've got to just then start generating more shots. If you know you can put them away, you need to make sure you've got enough to deal with.
Why do I not enable filters so I can check easily? Well, I've not committed to the terrifying thing of trying to sort the sheet by. I mean, let's just click this. Short sheet. Boom. Right, as you can see, that went really well. We're clicking undo. Yeah. That's we're not doing that again. Yeah, Sussex. Actually, Sussex also have the highest goal difference per game. How do people manage this? And yet they are effectively 1 point in front of Loughborough, who are conceding more goals a game than they are scoring. You have to place these goals better. Like, stop winning games by such huge margins and start. Is that? No, it's not Brighton there, is it? It's. Are they there?
Loughborough you're looking at for negative goal difference.
I am. Who's doing really well for goal difference? Kent. Oh, that's because they must have been smacking people in week 1. Pretty crazy, actually. I'm giving you Excel lessons in this after
negative
this.
Goal difference in week 1.
How the hell did they manage that?
So I think that might have just been calculated wrong.
How on earth? We must do this. The detectiveness. 1. Kent were conceding more goals than they were scoring. Did they manage to get a positive one in week 2 despite getting relegated?
Nope.
And
so we'll fix those stats.
ladies and gentlemen, we have found an error. Kent are breaking the system. They have somehow, if they somehow hack themselves back into nationals, do not be surprised. Maybe it should just be minus.
Probably.
What happened here? That means that their goals gained and goals conceded per game must clearly be incorrect. F. Everyone, we thought their defense was so good. That's probably not the second best defense. Sad times. The Portsmouth will probably find themselves in second, and the third will go instead to Sussex. Sussex with that goal difference. Again. Ah, that's pretty cool. What do I need to touch on? No, we'll save week 3 predictions of the people. So there are many times. You should find the link posted in NSC if you would like to make your predictions. Do remember that apparently Portsmouth are playing with a sub instead of Psycho. So KVZ will be in, which will make our stat tracking lives a little bit more of a nightmare, but that's okay. It already is. And I think that pretty much clears up last week's results. Pretty much.
I think so.
Pretty much. We kind of went over a lot of stats. I'm going to highlight it here.
With a nod to Hertfordshire White for nearly getting the reverse sweep on Newcastle.
That's true. That was a series we didn't talk about.
And then barely staying up in 5 games against Kent.
Yeah, that was... Yeah. Did they stream the Kent Hertfordshire series?
No, it was the 10-point matches that were being streamed.
That's a little bit sad. You'll also see that we haven't uploaded the overlay, and it still says week 1 results. In case you figured it out, that's a lie. It's week 2 results. And changing it proved to be a nightmare, so we're just going to live with it. And no, we don't have a CCA Showdown catch-up section, unless you'd like us to talk about CRL again, which I'm pretty sure we can all agree we don't want. However, we do have a talk about. You'll see me change over to EURC, which we do have results to talk about, as well as upcoming games to talk about tomorrow. One of the guys streamed the games for Hearts. Ooh, I must have the link to the VOD. EURC, which I have a Wikipedia page for. Ooh. Hopefully the zoom is about right. Yes, we can see this is Group A and Group B over here. So we played all the upper bracket games, and then tomorrow all the lower bracket games are played. Is that correct? I think so. You get it? That makes sense? It does.
Yep.
So, of course, top seed for the tournament, and hot favourites. Obviously hot because the logo is a fire, and that's what's so cool about Wikipedia is we can see there. Yeah, this wasn't a close series.
Nope, not close at all.
Durham, if you're here, I'm sorry. I had got to be honest, I had a mild hope at a game, but
that's painful. When your best results are 7-2 loss.
4-0 is technically better, well, right? Yeah.
I'd rather score, to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah. Yes, the Wikipedia work of Chairman Meow. Round of applause, please, Francis. That was a fantastic round of applause right there. Oh, yes. Apparently we don't have game scores for what was quick detective work. Uni PD. I'd love to scroll up and check, but I'm terrified.
I expected Brighton to take that more comfortably. I didn't have much faith in Padua being the second Italian team.
Ah. Well, the Italian teams didn't really do very well, did they?
No.
Sorry, Italy. It's just not looking up for Italy right now, is it? It's really not.
But again, in that final match, Berlin, they're just too strong. Is anyone going to be able to take them down?
Yeah.
I think a full-strength Trent might be our best hope.
You have... I mean, a 1-0 for the first game. Like, it just feels like it's difficult, right? Because right in, you feel like Ferrell has to really step up and match them. But you might be able to, on a great day, match Nagflo or Tigri, but you've got two of them to deal with. So you not only need Ferrell to step up, but you also need, like, Wardley to be like, yo, what's up? And, yeah, this looks... you can say it's competitive, but, like, it's still a 3-0. But, you know, we haven't had, like... I mean, Brighton are obviously a cusp playoff team. You'd expect to finish in, like, the 6th to 9th sort of region. So maybe we'll see, you know. They obviously got smacked around by the best teams ever who are playing CRL. So, yeah, I don't think it's definitive yet. Definitely favourites, but you know, you could say that about Kit, who really dispatched their games as well. Like, this is Kiel, who are a nationals team, as opposed to Durham, and they still pretty much destroyed Kiel. I'm pretty sure Kiel were like 4-0 down in the first minute of one of the games. I was watching it, and I was in physical pain. Like, it was cool. Misty hasn't lost to Tigray in ranked yet, exactly. So that's it. That's just a W. Like, they'll have to forfeit because of that. Unless you beat someone in ranked, you can't play against them. That's just a standard rule, right? Yeah. So fair play is that Groningen?
That is Groningen, yeah.
It is. What's up? Yo. Is this juicy? It is.
Yeah.
We did. I remember mentioning it. So fair play to Warwick as well. Fair play. Oh, I'm dead inside.
That's another notch that Warwick have claimed. They're making a solid case of themselves.
Very consistent.
Yeah, and their lower bracket looks quite nice actually. They might be able to sneak into top 16 and try and take some more scalps.
Yeah, definitely expecting two British teams out of this, I would say. Unless you'd like to argue that Groningen are going to beat Sussex and Brighton.
Well, no, I don't think that. I think Sussex should be getting fair
Sussex.
I mean, but they played all right against Warwick as far as I watched it back. But I think Warwick are just a very. I mean, we faced them in that final, and they are a really solid team. Like, they don't take any risk, and it's really
very consistent. And they just drink a lot of boost. Well, one of them drinks a lot of boost.
Good evening, by the way. Not meaning to interrupt you guys.
Oh my goodness. My ears are so erotic. What's up, Crafty? That was beautiful. Please, don't stop talking. Can I pay you? Like, not stop? I wonder if I just... Oh, I'm not on webcam mode, so I can just do anything I want while listening to... Okay. You do have... Of course, you did have the luxury of playing against Sussex as well, and you did dispatch them. And of course, Sussex, as we were saying earlier, pre-season, in terms of the quality of the roster, we really expected them to be quite a contender in the UK, and whilst their weeks haven't worked out, we are only 2 weeks in, and they're still definitely contending to be in the playoffs, which kind of depends on the next week. So, did you just sort of easy clap them, or given the fact that every single game was one goal difference, was it quite stressful?
It was hilariously stressful. Like,
I see.
some of the saves that we pulled off in that series, literally, like, watching it back, I still don't understand how he saved one of us. What are some of those balls? I feel like to a certain extent we were lucky, but I think we also played solidly. It's still only like the third time or something that we play together. It's S3, and to us it's like if we beat Sussex, we're in a very good spot because then you've got Warwick, and even if you lose to them, you'll get not that strong teams in the lower brackets. And now for Sussex, I mean, they're up against Fair Play, which should be a win, but then it's Brighton Babes, and I rate both of those teams quite easily.
Hard to know. But you didn't see it out. I don't know if there was any overtimes, because Smash doesn't show overtimes.
I think against Sussex we had one, but against Warwick we lost our first game, I think, and then the second one was like a 4-minute overtime, and I think against Sussex we had like a 4-minute one too.
4-minute
those
overtime.
are just they're heartbreaking,
it's a big
and mental
deal.
breaking if you lose them.
Yeah. You get through despite being like third seed in like that branch. Like you break through the uppers, which will give you, in terms of, oh goodness, I've scrolled. Like when we go into the top 16 groups, you'll be a high seed and should, in theory, have nicer opponents to try and advance through.
I think the most important thing to us is like we're not gonna face Burning Phoenix because we're gonna get in different groups. That is true. That
is true.
Oh, is that so?
I mean, you'd expect it, I guess. Like
because you're facing a lower bracket team of one of the other groups.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that's the first game, but yeah, we would expect to be in a different separate group. You would probably expect like Group A, Group B, Group A, Group B, Group A, Group B, Group A, Group. Yeah, something like that. We covered Group A, and then we have a pretty similar story, although I don't think it was smashings. Bath definitely doing a slightly better job than Durham in terms of holding the games, although it was still 3-0. And then Newcastle have the curse of they almost seem to never have beaten a sort of top UK team. And the thing is that it's never close. I feel like they've played Portsmouth like 4 times, and every time it's been 3-0. They find themselves in lower, playing the winner of Hamburger and Kiel. So I still think Newcastle will be okay. And you would expect the UK team to get out here, and probably expect a UK team to get out here, like Salford or Bath. Although I didn't watch any of Dublin Apes gameplay. Do we have any Dublin Apes experts here? I doubt it.
Don't think
I mean, Dublin Apes were swept by Newcastle, so I would expect Bath to definitely give them a game. Bath probably on a bit of a high. They've just recently been re-promoted. So the UK going strong, taking all the lower bracket spots. At least that's what we expect. And then there's Kit, Kit just sort of.
Yeah, K3. Do you want to tell us a bit about how that was for you?
Like, I watched this series, K3, and I have to admit, you made me sad. Your team just sort of. They were just sort of. You looked like instead of going for the ball, you were just rushing around the pitch looking for lube because it looked painful. It was not cool.
That was a rough series for us.
I mean, it looked like you were making game out of game 3, and then I turned back and looked back again after like a minute, and suddenly it had all gone wrong again.
Yeah, there was a goal as well where I bumped him into my teammate, and then my teammate got demoed.
Aww.
And it was just like.
It was one of the series where nothing went your way.
Yeah, just things weren't going our way. They were just first to the ball, first to the boost, stuff like that. We were in our half a lot of the time, and we're usually a pretty aggressive team. So when teams are faster than us, it really stands. It really shows.
You're doing pretty damn good in terms of goal scoring. I mean, that technically. Well, 1.91 is definitely higher than your surrounding teams, and you could say Sheffield have that, but of course Sheffield haven't done. They've only done the 1 week in regionals, and technically third highest on assists. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, at least if it felt better, they did dispatch Salford as well. Although the series was a bit closer, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know much
we've
about
got a
this.
lot to approve tomorrow. playing against Hamburger and then hopefully Newcastle.
Yeah.
But we can do it.
There's a chance. There's definitely a chance.
Yeah.
As long as the UK teams get out, that's it. No problemo.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that Hamburg has a shot at the spot in Group A against Newcastle and Kiel. To be honest, their games against Salford were pretty competitive and pretty close.
That's true, actually. These are
that was
basically all one
Salford's
game.
new lineup, though, wasn't it?
It is the new
Yeah.
lineup.
Okay.
I don't think they're as good yet, at least, as they were with Aaron.
Yeah, we played Salford in NSC just this past week.
Yeah.
How good is Newcastle though?
It's very hard to say how Newcastle are because like Newcastle seem to be a sort of sixth to ninth sort of area similar to like Brighton in the UK, but it depends. Will I put them above Salford's current new lineup? Yes, I think I probably would. Which is why we wouldn't expect Hamburg to do it, but definitely you would expect this series against Kiel. I don't want to scare you, K3, and you're probably still scarred after last week, but like this could still be a series. And taking that momentum forward, like Newcastle, they haven't always been shown to be that consistent. Like, sure, they've gotten 2 3-point weeks in UK, and you could say that's technically consistent, but there was a 3-point weeks when they didn't want to get 3-point weeks in either of them. Right? They lost a game 5 to Sussex in week 1, and they nearly got reverse swept by a newly promoted team this past week. So they're certainly not super consistent. It's possible. It's possible, but definitely good for yourself, Erasmus, to be in the company of Berlin, Phoenix, and Kit. This is definitely a good sort of group that you want to associate yourself with. Not the lower bracket peasants, of course.
Exactly.
When you talk about them, you don't have to be near them.
You don't deal with
that.
that.
They smell and everything. Ugh. I would not be part of a lower bracket peasant. We would never do that. No, we would go through, despite the mad pop-offs of Doran's Nijmegen, which, honestly, when we're watching this series...
You're really gonna watch you have to watch your pronunciation of that, because you're very close to breaking TOS right there.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's very obvious what I'm trying to pronounce.
Alright, okay, cool.
I mean, this series, hold up, I don't care how good all the other series was. When we were, obviously when you're waiting for a game to finish and you're like, can it just please finish? This was not one of them. This was exciting. The top seed from Italy, Sea of Utopia. Like, this game was a smacking. Like, this game was not even close. They went 2-1 up and like, yeah, okay, let's just go toilet now. Sea of Utopia are going to win. The first seed in Italy, no problem. That's going to see it out. And then, like, Matthias was just like, no. And just started scoring banger after banger. It was like insane.
We dubbed him Matthias the
Literally.
Messiah.
I was shook. Like, we went into this game just like, we think this is good, but also we are terrified. Like,
that is
funny.
crazy. That team was super fun to watch, especially because they were so, like, at one point they'll just be popping off, and then the next time they'll be bumping each other out of goal. And you're wondering.
Yeah. Like, we took control after a bit, but like, if we say lose that game 1 instead, that could then be a very scary series, and goodness knows if they could carry that momentum. And like, for CF Utopia, that's a big deal. Because sure, you'd back them against Ulu, but now only one of UWE and CF Utopia can make it through.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's an oof matchup right there. I hope that gets streamed.
Oh, it will be.
I think almost everything gets streamed. I think there's literally like
there are
match
so
that
many
isn't going to be
streams.
streamed.
There are so many.
Yeah, so UWE versus CF Utopia or versus Ulu will be streamed round 4 tomorrow on the main
Very
stream.
exciting.
That is
Nice.
unless Ulu get through, in which case it'll be on the finished stream.
I see.
The main stream will go cover something else instead.
Makes sense. This makes sense.
The very complex flowchart of which match gets streamed
Yes.
depending on which nationality is in the match.
I've tried to cut that down by just not trying to cover anything that's going to have a Dutch team in it. Just accepting the fact we're not going to be able to have any of those matches on the mainstream.
Well, I see. I think this was an interesting game, though, as you can sort of say that Loughborough have been getting fortunate with the fixtures that they got to get their 7-point week, but you can't argue that, as far as I know, this was a full roster trend. This was a 5-game series, which, like, Nottingham Trent with their full roster are, like, a championship contending team in NSE for sure. So it's like, it's for Loughborough to take that to 5, which if someone's now going to tell me that somehow that Trent were actually using a sub and just sort of blow this away for no reason, but that's kind of a big deal. Like, sure, Loughborough were the invited seed and high, but like this is not the team that they technically got invited with. So, but yeah, all the games are lower since we did 4. Yeah, it was 4 roster. TDB does confirm, so fair play, TDB, fair play. This is a handshake right now, which is gonna make this kind of a difficult game. Of course, whichever team wins out of Engine, Stuttgart, and Loughborough is gonna get pounded by Doran's Nijmegen.
I mean, this is pretty free for Loughborough, I guess. I don't think Stuttgart is gonna make it.
You don't think Stuttgart are gonna make it?
No, they lost their best player. And, they're not what they used to be.
But arguably, so did Loughborough. So,
like, surely, like this, did they have their best player against UWE?
No. He left the team after last season.
Yeah, but like they still took UWE to 5. Like,
yeah, that's kind of weird. But that series was crazy.
It was weird.
I don't know. I mean, they almost had it, and then they just threw it away.
I mean, this is still going to be a great series as far as I'm concerned. Like, yeah, Loughborough are kind of still a bit of a shadow of the team that they were. Like, they're definitely more of a mid-table team as one that was sort of feared before. But if Engines can take UWE to Game 5, I don't see why this wouldn't be a really good, like, exciting series. Like, I'm not biased towards Group D, but this is really cool. Like, this section right here. Like, we have Sea of Utopia against UWE, and only one team can make it out. Then we have Loughborough against Engines. Don't really know which way that's going to go. Against Doran's Nijmegen. Like, come on. Like, who do you want to come out of this pool? Because I don't even know. Like,
Doran's Nijmegen.
I mean, obviously, like, that's who you want to get out of this pool. Like, who's really going to get out of this pool? Like, I don't know.
No, like, on it, like, because your matches, I mean, it ended up being 3-1, and Nijmegen did seem like a team that whenever they go down more than 2 goals, they'll just let in another 3 just for free.
They do, things do fall apart.
Exactly, but then they do recompose themselves.
Yeah.
Because in their first match against Sea of Utopia, they lost like
it was just
6-2 and then brought it back somehow.
You can never write off Dorans. Never. And definitely, Trent, see now, with a 3-1 over UWE, which is still like an important sort of status confirming result. Of course, UWE have the quality. They've got Jordan, they've got Sebadam, but Doran, Trent, they're just like, no problem, 3-1. And that was pretty much where Nottingham Trent's amazing week ended. They did then play with a sub in NSE, and they did get 3 points. So hopefully with their full roster, they can pick up that momentum again, although I believe we're due to play them second round if they beat BCU, so maybe not too much momentum, but that's okay. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it on Tuesday. But as for Monday, we'll obviously have Group C's lower bracket happening as well. Group C, I had my doubts about DCU, honestly, but beating BCU in 5 games, I think it's actually... I always found it surprising, gotta be honest.
Yeah, I was certainly surprised by that result.
I mean, they've both got similar kind of rosters, haven't they? Because DCU have got Demox and Arctic, both about 1900, and then they've got Aweo. I don't know how to pronounce it. who's like 1600, and that's pretty much the same kind of roster that Birmingham City have. I'd put them as very similar teams, but Dublin City arguably do have better chemistry.
Okay.
The question we've always got about Dublin City is the fact that as a team, they don't face much competition in the Irish League.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
true.
it's a question of whether or not they'll be able to play the same way against high-level teams. But I don't think they seem to have had that problem at all, because they're basically 2/3 of a roster that won an Irish LAN. I can't remember which LAN. It might be Insomnia Dublin or something.
I remember, yeah.
But yeah, Arctic and Demox played on the same team for that. So effectively, they are 2/3 of a bubble team, which is constantly playing against this kind of level of team.
Oh, cool.
Also, they're starting to face more competition in Ireland now because Galway have a good team. But sadly, they didn't have time to enter EURC, but there's still a strong roster. They've got Mayday, Carrickdan, and Darcy, I think it is.
Do we know if this was all 1-0s, or was that just sort of Smash when you just put in 1-0?
No, it's probably Smash.
Yeah.
That had a bunch of issues with teams reporting scores on Smash. That's why a lot of the game scores are missing.
Yeah. I don't know what I expected from Bern, to be honest. But maybe a 3-0 is surprising that it's not closer.
Bern were playing with a sub. They're playing with a Champ 3 in place of one of their usual 1700 plus players.
I see. The Shallops could not deny Jyväskylä, but then Jyväskylä got swept by Northern Lions. Like,
Yeah.
hold up.
Northern Lions is nuts. Like, especially Naughty is absolutely crazy, but then Series is also very good, and then Rifle Games is quite a lower level to the other ones. He's like 1500. There's barely GC, but he is the type of player that can pull off the crazy stuff, and then Naughty just, I feel like, kind of lets them, and then team just ends up sweeping 2 series in a row.
Like, they swept the Avascular, which is like, sure, there was 2 1-goal games back to back, but like, that's still a pretty status result. Like, we had like expectations for Northern Lions coming in. It was like, yeah, maybe they can upset, maybe they can go through the upper bracket. That'd be kind of a big deal. They kind of established themselves as a big don, and then suddenly they just sweep it, and it's like, oh, okay, you do that then.
Yeah, I mean, I had doubts they would even be able to beat the Oldenburg.
Yeah, I mean, they managed to drop a game to Oldenburg, but that's just a 1-0 at the start, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, fair play to Oldenburg.
I'd be interested to hear what Crafty has to say about Oldenburg Avengers, because they did not look up for it at all on Monday.
Were they snoozing? Is Crafty snoozing? Vote on your phones now.
It sounds like it, doesn't it?
Yep, he just died.
And he's gone.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean, I put it on stream because I had a feeling Northern Lions were coming in confident, in good form. Oldenburg Avengers, not in particularly good form. I had a feeling there could be an upset, and we obviously wanted to have Oldenburg Avengers on first because they were the reigning champions. It makes sense to start with them. So I could kind of see that result coming, but then Northern Lions just going through with a sweep against Avascular is something that I don't think anyone expected. Because if Avascular were playing badly, they would have lost to Lubeck. So they must have been playing well coming into that match.
Of course, that you do. They weren't. It was not a really close series, to be fair. So they definitely can't have been playing bad. Yeah,
it's very much a confidence thing. I feel like the Northern Lions are one of those teams that can just, because they had no expectations, right? So they didn't even need to shake them off, and they were just playing their game. And I know Naughty, he's just a guy that has fun while playing, and then I feel like during that series it just gave them wins, and then you beat them once, and you know you can do it over and over again.
I see.
And that just kind of kept them going.
It'd be interesting to see if they carry that through then to like the top 16 pool as like a Chad seed, one of the top upper bracket ones.
Well, I think that's very interesting because I don't know how they're going to perform when suddenly they're expected to win, rather than them being like, oh yeah, Northern Lions is a team, but we don't expect too much from them.
See, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Point, I could make some predictions as to who faces who in the next round.
Please do.
It's difficult, so it's not an exact science, but I do have a spreadsheet of who get.
Depends. Like, is it going to be logical and make sense, or is it going to be like Hench is going to walk in and just swap all the seeds and it won't make any sense?
No, the seeds are right. The issue is predicting who will actually go through from the lower bracket, because all the first round matchups will be an upper bracket team versus a lower bracket team.
But like, it's hard to say which one will.
So, do we know which groups the teams that are qualified so far will be in?
Yep. So Group A will be Burden Phoenix, DCU Titans, Nottingham Trent, Kit SC Lawnmowers, and 4 teams from the lower brackets. Whereas Group B will be Portsmouth Paladins, Lancashire, Northern Lions Esports, and Erasmus Esports Rotterdam.
Okay. Well, is that in descending order?
Yes, it's in descending order of seeding.
So you would expect upper bracket semi-finals to be Portsmouth against Lancaster Group B. Okay, awesome.
You would expect the upper bracket semi-final to be Portsmouth versus Rotterdam and Lancashire versus Northern Lions.
Ah, okay, Northern Lions.
So yeah, it's great they've been doing so well so far, but it's a shame it's got to stop.
That is actually tragic.
Well,
that's of course if they manage to beat the lower bracket team, of course. If they can.
You had Troll versus Nijmegen. I rate Northern Lions higher than Nijmegen, so.
Did we have trouble?
Is there trouble?
You had films carrying you, which of course.
Exactly, that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I do feel like
we just put down our controllers and films just went with it. Like, he was playing on I virtual desktoped him. He was playing on keyboard on my screen, controller on his screen, and he had his GameCube controller controlling Matt's car all at the same time. Like. You do not underestimate that man.
No, I do think like they played better than I expect them to, but I think Northern Lions, because they lost in the qualifiers. They lost 2-3 against the Brighton Babes,
Ooh.
which I believe this is a series that they could have taken. Just like we could have. I mean, it's a 3-2, so obviously it was close. But I feel like have you guys played the Brighton Babes
Qualifiers aren't safe.
recently?
Not recently, no.
They sort of lose before we get to them.
Oh, that is a sad truth.
Sorry, I've had my pride wounded by being told we
We
struggled.
did play them last. We did play them like last season, right? Same roster.
We did. Yeah, in the last week.
Yeah, and they were like, okay.
Yeah, we won.
So
I think it's definitely going to be a close. I think all of the quarterfinals should be very good games, though.
None of the lower bracket teams are going to be a shirk. Like when you see that one of the lower bracket teams here is going to be Utopia or Sea Stags or Ulu Arctic Gaming, like Yavaskala, BCU, Dorans, obviously Dorans. Like these lower bracket teams are actually kind of scary, and I'd be surprised if we didn't see at least a few of the upsets.
I agree.
Even though it's going to be on a completely different day.
So yeah, I can just about predict the first round of the second group stage. So Berlin will be up against number 15. Number 15 being the lower bracket from Group B.
The lower bracket, so BCU.
Berlin versus Newcastle, Kiel, or Hamburg.
Ah, yes.
Well, that should be doable for Berlin.
DCU versus 13, who are... DCU will be up against Dorans, Loughborough, or Stuttgart.
Should be DCUs, I think.
Okay.
Stuttgart.
Yeah, I mean, you'd back DCU, probably like 70-30, maybe more.
Yeah.
Nottingham Trent get 11, which is a winner from Group C.
No, Group C.
Yeah, so Nottingham Trent will get the winner of Jyväskylä, Staffordshire Stampede, and Burn Masters, which, by the way, in actual fact, that's an interesting part of the bracket because Burn will probably have their full roster and Jyväskylä will not. They aren't going to have Marka, they're going to be replacing with Kosa, who's like a Champ 2, so they're placing like 1600 with a Champ 2.
Final destination.
I think
but they'll still have Torquay and Anka, so that's like a 2000 MMR player and a 1700 player.
I see, but still, will their chicken become Kentucky Fried by the Burn?
Yeah,
it could be.
It's a tricky one. Any one of those three teams, they will have roughly equal chances of going through. On paper, Staffordshire and Burn are equal. Like I don't know, because Staffordshire have had a few roster changes, but I believe their main roster is like mid 1700s because that's what Burns is. But if Staffordshire, did we talk about varsity by the way?
No, but I did watch. Well, I say watch. I had a ping. I opened the stream and didn't watch a second of it, but I was a viewer for the Kiel versus Staffordshire. Yes, but I don't actually know the result of it. I was technically had the stream open. Who did actually win Kiel versus Staffs?
Did K3 leave? I thought he was about to.
K3 probably got a bit sad about the PTSD talking about their series against Kit, to be honest.
Yeah. I know they got a bit upset that we decided to put that series on stream, but realistically, they're a team with a 1900 and 1800, and we've recently hit 1700 as well. So an 1800 plus team. I think it's justifiable to think that they could put up a game against a team like Kit, who are meant to be like 1900. And if you play in EURC, you are playing with the big teams.
Yeah,
there's no hiding from them. So I'm sorry, perhaps we could have picked a better match of theirs.
I don't know. I feel like it just took a while for Kiel to wake up. Like their game 3 was definitely competitive. Like I'm sat there like it's 2-2. I think they're actually 2-1 up at one point, and I'm like, that's it. The Kiel, the reverse sweep is coming, and then they just lost 5-2. And like, oh. But like if all 3 games were like that, you'd have probably expected them to take one of them. Like, it just sort of took them 2 entire games to actually wake up. It looked like because they were too busy getting like hit by a truck in the first 2. So no, that was definitely fair. Like.
But yeah, they definitely redeemed themselves at varsity. They won in a fairly comfortable 3-0 sweep over Staffordshire.
I see. That's cool.
And in the other varsity, I don't actually know. I'll admit I didn't reach the end of that one.
Goodness, was
I
it
don't know if
that
Kent or
bad?
Canterbury won.
Kent or Canterbury? Something tells me Kent probably won.
No, because it was Kent's B team. Their A team
Oh.
didn't play because they knew they'd win.
Oh, the Kent B. I see. Do we know who Kit, who we were just talking about them, would be playing potentially in the final 16 and Portsmouth?
So they'll be up against. Wait, hold on. Yeah, they'll be up against number 9, which is. Give me a sec. Number 9 will be Warwick, Durham, or Padua.
Ooh, okay.
Ouch.
I don't know if you already talked about that Durham versus Padua matchup, but on paper, both teams are very even. Like, both of them have got 1,600, 1,700 kind of players.
Padua did take Brighton to 5, which was definitely surprising.
But are either of them gonna give a fight to Warwick?
I would expect. Yeah,
We'll give a fight.
I'd still expect Warwick to win. The question that I'm curious at is how Warwick will stand up against Kit.
I don't think they have a chance.
Nah.
Warwick have a strong defense. Like, I can't see them getting blown out in the same way because Kit can punish teams that don't know how to rotate, don't know how to defend. But Warwick can defend really well even when they're on 0.
Like I back Kit, but I feel like it'll be a series.
The thing is, right, I feel like as long as you do not make the defensive mistakes by being if you're not too offensive with your third men, you're eventually going to beat Warwick as being better players, which is exactly how we beat them. We didn't take any risk. We just stayed back, kept clearing towards their half, and eventually they made a mistake or we outpaced them to one ball and we scored a goal, and then we ended up winning that game. And I feel like Kit is a team that realizes that they can play the game like that very quickly, can adapt like that, and then just get a clean game over Warwick. Yeah, maybe they will drop one game, but I don't see them ever losing that series.
Absolutely. Yeah. Think so too.
And Portsmouth are due to play.
So Portsmouth will play 16, which is it's from the same group. So yeah, Portsmouth would play one of Brighton, Groningen, or Sussex.
Ooh, Sussex, Portsmouth. That could be interesting. Could definitely be interesting. And of course, who will Juicy?
I mean,
find
Group B
himself
seems pretty stacked in general, either way.
That's true.
Yeah.
But who will Juicy? Juicy needs to know so we can start doing replay analysis.
Well, I'll go through it in order. So Lancaster are up against 14, which is from Group C. Yeah, so it'll be. Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, wait a
Dorans
sec.
again? Not Dorans. Please, not Dorans.
Hold on.
Lancaster are going up against Burning Phoenix, right?
Not the Dorans.
Just for switch up.
Liz, not the Dorans.
No, I'm just making sure that my maths is right here because I copied this directly from.
I mean, even so, we'll be able to talk about it next week because we'll know for sure then.
Yeah, but when I completely change it, yeah.
Yeah.
But...
I mean, you're not hench. You
No,
wouldn't do that.
I
You wouldn't
copied
do that to
this
us.
from the DreamHack Pro circuit. So if I'm doing it wrong, they've been doing it wrong.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but sure.
Yeah, so it's 14, which is bottom of Group C. So yeah, it'd be one of Birmingham City, Lubeck, or Oldenburg that's facing Lancaster.
Makes sense. Cool. We haven't actually had the chance. Well, we have played BCU. We played BCU once in qualifying and we managed to lose.
We did.
Somehow. Yeah,
I
but
was
if you get the
one like 3 times a game, and sometimes goals just weren't going in.
I mean, our save percentage was like 0%. I'm pretty sure every shot they actually had went in because it was from their own half on an open net. So as long as we do anything different, we will have an interesting series, but definitely not the easiest round 1 game. So that'd be cool. But then again, we might find ourselves playing Oldenburg. Who knows?
Northern Lions have one of UWE Sea Stags, CF Utopia, or Ulu Arctic Gaming.
Monk ass, that's not the one you want.
That's the other side of our bracket as well.
That's not the branch you want. I mean, we were fine playing UWE, and we never actually got to play CF Utopia, so that's fine by me. But Northern Lions.
Finally, Rotterdam are up against number 10, which is.
God, that's Salford or Basel for TU
Salford,
Dublin, right?
Bath. That's not bad.
That's definitely on a.
That's very nice.
Given Salford's new roster, I would be mean and say that's one of the nicest brackets.
I think in general it should be doable for us, especially. I would have been more scared of Salford with still having the chemistry that they had with Aaron. I don't think they're as adapted with. I think it's Jake, right?
Yeah, Jake Adams.
Yeah, I don't think they're as adapted with him yet. So That should be a good one. And that is that if they don't get taken down by TU Dublin, because I do think they're, on paper at least, they're a very good team too.
Wait, TU Dublin on paper?
What are TU Dublin on paper? Hold up, Cineros wants to slap
one
you.
grand.
Oh wait, sorry, I was thinking of another team.
Like, quick, think of an excuse. He's gonna kill you. He's gonna kill you.
I was thinking of DCU.
Okay.
I was thinking of DCU. Well, that's not.
Yes,
never mind.
DCU, the team that qualified through uppers. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, how don't I get these teams mixed up? Damn.
That's interesting. Stupid.
What? Well, I will be very excited to be watching tomorrow while I sip some hot chocolate and chill with my feet on the desk.
It's nice to have a week off, isn't it?
Yeah, we're just chilling. It'd be great.
Draw a scrim tomorrow, seeing as we don't have anything to do.
No, I want to watch the games. I want that multi-Twitch stream where you have like 8 different streams open in 6 different languages.
Wait,
literally.
which language are you going to listen to? That's a real
totally not a mess.
What do you mean, all of them at the same time? You need to have as much information intake at the same time. Duolingo will be so proud of me. I won't get any more notifications. Oh, it'd be so good. Is there anything else I can think of with regards to EURC? I'm not sure. Is anyone in chat going to shout at us for not talking about X team? Please shout now or forever hold your non-shouts. Yes. I hope that we have not been raged at by anyone. I don't think we will be. I can see DreamHack, but of course DreamHack doesn't exist anymore, so we can't PogChamp that. DreamHack is dead, just like the World Championship. So that's fine.
I mean, it's only a matter of time till the Olympics also get cancelled,
Yeah, let's
right?
be real, it's probably getting cancelled. That's okay, we've got lots of backup plans. There's so many tournaments as well in the next 6 months. We've got a lot of plans.
It's not like
So
the
many plans.
entire Rocket League Esports the first half of the year was hedged on.
What? This stream has been ended. This stream has been terminated by Psyonix due to violation of terms of service.
I mean, I said it wasn't like that. That's not how it was at all.
Yes. Psyonix is potentially detecting sarcasm. Although I'm not sure they have the brain power to do that, but we'll see. I don't think we have. I think we cover EURC, which only leaves us with, of course, as you are, Juicy and Crafty, experts on NSE, you can help us predict next week's results, even though, little disclaimer here, they're probably the wrong schedule. They're probably the wrong matchups, because...
I know Lankers are going to get 0.
Okay, well, actually, you're not alone. Yes, you're not the first person to predict that. You will find that Adam G has predicted us to get relegated. He has predicted Bath to 3-0 Lankers in first round. I might point out to you that Adam G is a Bath player, but I think that's just a coincidence. And he's just got really, from a tactical standpoint, he generally thinks that's what's going to happen. He does also think that they're going to 3-0 BCU and then 3-0 Salford to get a 10-point week. Bath have recently just been re-promoted after getting relegated in week 1. But, Kent were predicted to be relegated week 1 and ended up getting 7 points. So after I've seen that happen, I will just respect these predictions and definitely not point out that they're evidently a joke and a personal attack. Joel also has us losing to Bath round 1. In a 3-2, less biasly, I would say that Joel is a Bath player, but he's been quite modest and said that Trent will then beat them 3-1, and that they'll then beat Salford to give them a 5-point week. Very solid, very respectable. He's also got us getting a 5-point week. Not sure how that's going there. Okay, we'll go to Distan's predictions, because Distan said that he may pop in and talk about Sussex, but guess what? He hasn't, so we can just shit talk Sussex the entire time. What is he? He actually predicts himself losing to us.
I mean, imagine losing to Erasmus. that just means you're done for.
It's true. I mean, previously in week 1, I averaged all the predictions. So I give like the average points predicted per team, but a lot of the time it was kind of just random because it kind of depends whether they win a game or not. In terms of individual fixes, it's also hard to put them because everyone ends up with different brackets after round 1. But yeah, our good friend Hench will probably take all these matchups and decide that he doesn't like them and will just sort of shift them around. But we hope he doesn't, because that way it's helpful for deciding which games go on stream and what ones don't. If you would like to submit and you're watching a prediction, please perfectly do feel free to. You just duplicate this week 3 template. In fact, we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to make week 3, not template 1. Here we go. It is a combined prediction of juicy coffee. Yeah. This is your predictions, guys. Please be nice.
It's crazy.
Who's going to win out of Lankers and Bath?
It's got to be Lankers, isn't it?
Okay.
I would have put money on you saying Bath. Got to be honest, I would have put money on it. I will inform you.
Nah, I'm a nice guy.
What's gonna happen if we end up getting the absolute best prediction?
If you,
for
I'll
so
pay.
far?
I'll give you each
random.
€100 if you both get the exact perfect predictions, which I'm so confident in because I know Hench will somehow make these not the matches. But I will inform you that week 1 we did play Bath round 1 and we did go to 5 games.
Ooh.
Don't ask me how. To be honest, it was really good. It meant we didn't have to wait for our second match.
I think you could get a 3-1 this time.
A 3-1.
Yeah,
Okay,
3-1 sounds
3-1,
reasonable.
okay. I do remember that 3-1s in NSE don't really happen unless you're Nottingham Trent and you get a 10-point week by winning 3-1 every time. University of Birmingham, like Bath, have just been promoted out of North. They are playing reigning champions Portsmouth. So, as opposed to Birmingham, I think the only notable result they have is beating Loughborough in qualifying. They beat Loughborough Lions 3-2 in qualifying, but that's about it. Sheffield, like Hertfordshire White, the two teams promoted last week, have actually been doing pretty well. They've been giving people games, but obviously this is a tough game for them against UWE. Do you think they're going to pull off a miracle? Does anyone think they're going to pull off a miracle?
Not really.
Oh,
No.
that's a sad time right there.
UWE look pretty strong
Yeah.
as far as I've seen them.
Are they going to get a game?
Oh, we can give them
That has a,
one.
we get.
Yeah.
Let's go with
Already
3-1s
with
all the
2-3.
way.
I hate this. It's hurting me. This could definitely see being in game, but it depends how confident you are in Loughborough.
Well, you said they lost their best player as well, right?
Their season, they didn't really they kind of went into the season not having Smokey. I mean, a lot of people would argue that Matt M was their best player. I think Smokey definitely did a lot for them though, in terms of just being a very difficult player to play against.
But they did get 3-2 against Nottingham.
They did get a 3-2 against Nottingham, which is probably their
And
best result
Nottingham
today.
is better than NA, and that is confirmed.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's got to be a 3-2.
A 3-2. Honestly, I think that's what I predicted. Like, honestly, Hertfordshire have been definitely pulling some strings. Like,
I do feel like Loughborough has the potential to throw 2 games.
yeah, I actually think that I believe. Did I predict the exact same? Hold up. And obviously, my predictions in week 1 were definitely accurate. I did. That's it. Great brains. Think like, look at that. That's fantastic. That's
Perfect.
beautiful.
Oh, look at this.
That's so good.
Oh
It's
my
almost
god.
like I'm just forcing
Supreme
you.
analysts, let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-0 for Hertfordshire now, you know that. This is an interesting game for if Kiel want to, make amends, but Warwick again so consistent that I really don't know which way this would go. I don't think any result would surprise me other than like a 3-0 to Kiel, but most people would definitely back Warwick. So kind of like.
I mean, I would back Kiel, to be honest. Having played both teams, I just feel like
Ooh.
I want Kiel to win just because I
Oh.
feel like Warwick are one of those teams that plays like an anti-style of Rocket League, where they're not, where they're so defensive that yes, it wins them
see.
games, but it's not enjoyable to watch.
Oh wow, that's a bit
I'd
mean.
rather have K3 just being upfield and hitting a redirect once in a while and winning that way than Warwick just getting
I
a win
see.
by banging the ball.
Craft, are you going to allow the prediction for Kiel to win, or are you going to somehow stand up to it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Let's go, Keel.
Is it going to be a 3-0?
That's
no,
gonna be
no.
3-2.
3-2, I see.
Nice
Well,
and close.
I must say that Duskmandy's in the chat, player for University of Birmingham. He might pitch you a Dragon's Den sort of sales pitch as to why he's going to beat Portsmouth. Maybe not, but if he wants to defend himself, now would be the time. What's up?
Would that pitch start with the fact that Psycho isn't playing this?
Potentially. We did forget to point that out. Psycho isn't playing this week. They have their sub. I will point out that despite both, they've 2 weeks. They played with their sub week 1, and they played without a sub. They've played with their full roster week 2, and yet both times they got like 90% of their goals were assisted, which is kind of head and shoulders against the rest of the pack. So in terms of chemistry, we don't really think there's any change. It's just the sort of raw quality that Psycho has over KVZ. But yeah, maybe the I personally I don't think University of Birmingham will win that. But if you want to somehow change, then I'm sure it would make Matty very happy. But definitely, probably, I would say these next 3 games are the spicy round 1 matchups. Like these 2 are quite spicy, for sure. But these 3, these like lead up to the playoff implications that round 2 has, because round 2 is where some people are going to be, like, shall not passing. It's a tense week for these 6 teams, 100%. So predicting Brighton Newcastle, you can literally predict anything. Nobody has a clue.
Well, I think to be honest, right, I do feel like the fact that Farrell is the heart of the team. And I do know for a fact he's not that invested in Rocket League the last couple of.
Whoa, he's the top scorer in NSC.
Well, I agree, and I'm not saying he's not performing. I'm saying that his priorities right now seem to be more at making music and stuff like that.
This man is getting 437 score per game. He's putting up 3.6 shots a game. He's got 74 point. He's got 75% goal participation. That's insane.
Hold up. I'm not saying.
Okay, it's nothing like
I'm saying
Will
he's
was
not.
86.
But I think in these clutch circumstances, am I just,
Newcastle going to demo too much? Is that it?
See, thank you, Chairman Meow.
Farrell has announced
what I'm
he's
trying
moving
to
back
say.
from RL. I'm not sure if that covers NSE. Hold up, if he just surely he wouldn't do that.
I know he's
Something went wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Something went wrong here.
Farrell, if there's anything in your life you need to talk about that this is somehow conveyed to us, then we're here. If something's gone wrong, which it sounds like, then that's okay. It doesn't look like you're going to get the prediction, though. Newcastle, I must say that Newcastle, having gotten back-to-back 3-point weeks that they'll be upset with, this is huge. This week is huge for them, as you'll find that the winner of this game plays Loughborough, who, similarly to how Kiel came into it week 2, you would definitely target as a team that you'd like to try and leapfrog and get into that 10-point matchup in round 3 due to. Are we going with Newcastle?
I mean, it is a tough. I think I'll still give it to Brighton.
Oh my goodness, it's a 3-3.
Yeah,
it's a 3-3.
100% 3-3. Did you just break the spreadsheet? I think you did.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, I gave you the Kiel one, so we're going with Brighton here.
Yeah, we're going with Brighton. Unfortunate Newcastle. Okay, right. Sussex Salford, though. Salford, will they have adapted to Jake in time, or is the raw quality that Sussex have got? I mean, if Sussex lose this game, as far as I'm concerned, that's it. They get the flop of the season title, just off how they were literally in the top 3 of everyone's predictions, but they have been extremely, mediocre. If they can't beat a new Salford, then something's up.
I haven't seen enough from the new Salford, which could either be a good thing or a bad thing.
They're using the most boost in the entire league. They're using a lot. Lots. Where is it? Lots. 1,364. That's only behind Newcastle.
Oh my god.
Yes. That's 450 per player.
I mean, at least they're
yeah,
fast.
And I do think
losing, that's the way to go.
They lose fast.
I do feel like Sussex is the type of team that can make sure that they get their own boost and then
that's true.
Deny that type of play. So I do think Sussex will clutch it out, but it's going to be a close one. I do.
Close one. Is it another game 5?
It could be.
Ooh.
Or is Salford just going to throw and we're only giving them 1? You can.
21-3.
It's hard. Yeah, I think it's give it a 3. I think it's 3-2. We said we wanted to go with 3-1. Yeah, we're going against the odds.
Okay, 3-1.
3-1.
Okay.
Salford Line's gonna throw.
There's money at stake here. There's money at stake.
Yeah.
This is also, we have a full strength Trent against a full strength BCU. If BCU, there was quite a bit of hype around them because we didn't really know just how good they were going to be coming into the season. If they can win this game, that's quite a lot of hype. But it is a full.
This game is hype AF.
This
but
is.
It's going to be a 3-2 Trent. I believe in Misty.
Okay.
Yeah, Misty. Misty fanboy myself, so yeah.
Okay, so you're a Misty fanboy. This has just become quite difficult.
Oh, that is such a good. No, that's not difficult.
Oh,
1-3.
wow.
Okay, right. That's perfectly
Exactly,
fine.
exactly.
Yeah, that's fine. That's considerably fun. That's fine. That's fine. It's fun. It's so fun. It's fine. Carry on. Portsmouth against Kiel.
Yeah, it's a 3. It's got to be 3-0.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
give it
I mean,
3-0.
Portsmouth are using a sub. Portsmouth are using a sub.
Yeah, but Kiel.
Okay,
had such
yeah.
an
I mean,
issue
Kiel have just beaten Warwick.
USC. Yeah, but they had such an issue in USC. And I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like
they did.
I mean, I don't think things are.
This is so.
The numbers
so
right now. Hold up.
you can do one well, and then the next series.
Right.
after
That's
you
fair.
just-
That's
Yeah,
fair.
that's, we could go with 3-1 as well.
Oh, another 3-1.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
we got
three-
it.
3-0. 3-0
Oh,
because Kiel shit.
3-0.
okay, that's
But it's
inherited.
it's Psycho playing.
So,
It's Psycho
That is
not
true,
playing
that
in
is
all
true.
of these 3
That
games.
is
So most people's predictions
All right.
do have this matchup in it, which, as far as I'm concerned, the winner of suddenly becomes much more confident for playoffs, and the loser of becomes very squeaky bum time for playoffs.
This
This
UW
is a
game.
huge game in terms of playoffs.
I agree.
Of course, there is another week after this, but like this series is going to decide what each team needs to do in that final week.
Which
Yeah,
is
I do
win.
think it's a UWE game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sussex take it.
They
So
did
is it-
play in week one. They played in a week, and UWE
they
did
played in
win.
week-
I don't know which
Yes.
week it was.
I think it's going to be like
UWE won back in week 1 when
Week
Sussex
1.
didn't have Distan. I don't know if they've faced.
Didn't Sussex? I thought Sussex did play week 1 with this.
No,
No?
he.
I mean, Distan is
Maybe
definitely
two.
the player on the team.
I thought he didn't play qualifying, but he was back in week 1, and that's why we.
Yeah,
won.
yeah. Sorry, I was
if
referring
he
to week
wasn't
1
in week
of the
one-
season, not National League.
Ah, sorry. It shouldn't be called week 1. That's qualifying.
Call it week
Oh,
-1.
Week
Yeah.
-1. Yes, exactly.
So that was with-
Yes. It was with Distan.
Yeah.
Yes, they
And
played.
then UWE won.
The. No, was it week 2? Hold up, it doesn't show here.
I don't see them.
It's not there. They played
okay,
beat
so they should
Newcastle.
play
It was
tomorrow.
week 2.
They
It
played
was
each
week
other
2.
literally
You
last week.
lied to me.
Literally last week, UWE 3-1.
Yeah, it was first round. It was 3-1 TW right there. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm tending
Uh,
towards another 3-1 again.
No, I'm gonna say 3.
You must see there is no 3-1s in round 2 or 3. There is none. None.
Yeah, 3-1.
Was there
against
any?
the odds.
Oh, there was 3-1s
3-1.
actually, and
We're
there was
playing
4
the odds.
3-1s here.
Yeah.
There's
3-1s.
another one, yeah. 3-1.
If it
Yeah.
never happens, the chance is bigger that it does happen
Okay,
now.
right. That
That's
probability
what's
has no memory.
Flawless logic.
And we see the current standings on the side. I did think about adding that to predictions, where like it would be interactive with based off your predictions. You could see how the standings would end up. But I mean, if I put the time into it, it's probably possible. At least I didn't have that much time when I was finishing up the stats this afternoon. Maybe it's possible, but I mean, it's possible. Whether it's possible to have it sorted by the points in real time, it's probably
You can.
difficult. But yeah, you definitely have a team's total put next to each other. Definitely doable. Then you have Loughborough Brighton, which the winner of will go into a 7-point game against a weakened Portsmouth.
Ooh.
I agree.
That's a tough one.
I agree.
I agree.
Once again, like I've said it before, like Farrell not having RL as his main focus anymore.
We now have Brighton's biggest hater telling us why he wanted Brighton to lose the series over here, and he's going to get his way with this one.
No.
Yeah.
Look, I love Farrell. I love him as a player. I love him as a person. But I mean, if you shift your priorities that way, it's gonna have effects on the results. Especially if you're facing a good team and you are the star player of the other team.
So you're saying Loughborough win?
We're just giving the Lions the best week of the season.
I mean, they did get a 7-point week last week.
They'll make playoffs at this rate.
Like, this is going to be this is like they definitely benefited from a weakened Kent last week, and they took full priority of it, getting 7 points. And getting 7 points again here is actually a really big deal. That'll put them on 16 for the season, which with a 5-point week in the final week could definitely see them sneak into playoffs.
Take away the context, and this just looks like your regular Loughborough season. Just be massively inconsistent in league play, sneak in
True.
6th place, then they'll kick TDP, bring back
and then
win NSE.
they'll win against us in playoffs. We'll be second, but because they're 6th, they'll beat 3rd seed somehow, then beat us as 2nd seed, and beat us again in playoffs.
Please, I've got trauma.
You still have nightmares?
Yes.
Yes, I see. Brighton. How are they going to get a game in this, or do you really love Ferrell that much?
No. It's 3-2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's 3-2.
Okay.
Definitely.
And now BCU against Bath, of course. Bath Titans.
3-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right,
3-0.
okay. Apologies to Bath. Your feelings? Warwick coming off a Game 5 loss against Kiel, against Dusk Matty and the Nutty Boys. That they only dropped 1 game in getting re-promoted, which I understand it was regionals, but they did only drop 1 game.
3-0.
Okay,
3-0.
right, you know what?
Yep.
Never mind. Newcastle against Hertfordshire White. This series was it went to Game 5 last week.
Huh.
With a
gonna put it
reverse
there.
sweep contention. OT,
Yes.
if I remember.
Yes, a Game 5 overtime. It was streamed. I don't actually know how it went to Game 5. I kept looking and I'm like, how is this close? How is this close? And then Hertfordshire, like, they just sort of, like, was it round 2, I think? Yeah, right here. Yeah, it was a very, very close game. It ended with a Raffro air dribble past 3 players to win the Game 5 overtime.
Well, Rafa is nuts, to be fair.
So, do you think he would have learned more from that? That's the thing. Like, Newcastle are definitely frustrated with their season. Whether or not that's going to bring the best out of them, I don't know. Whereas Hertfordshire, probably quite excited after that performance. Will they learn more? Will they take that dub? This is actually... Oh, no.
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I think if you just got the skills of someone like Rafa in your team, you're gonna get, especially in these kind of series, you're gonna get that dub.
Yeah.
Just a big dub?
3-1, because they never
big
happen.
dub. Yeah.
3-1 because they
no,
never
we need-
happen.
We need another 3-1.
Now,
3-1.
this is... I'm very interested in this game. Whether or not it'll have playoff contentions at this point,
That's
given
another
Salford...
rematch, if I remember correctly, is it not?
Yeah, actually, did Sheffield win?
No, they lost 3-2. That was Salford's Game 5
that
win.
was Salford's Game 5 win. Ooh. This is another round 2 rematch. Surely Hench just spins this. Surely.
I could do with round 2 being spun, if you don't mind.
No, this part will get spun. This won't get
Just
spun.
spin all of it, please.
Well, I will happily play Q. Is it going to be a dub, or are you going to annoyingly say...
No, I do think Salford's got this.
Okay, the
They will
chemistry is
turn it
growing.
around after their 3-1 loss against Sussex.
I see. I mean, Sheffield, they are epic. The team that never ever made nationals, but last week, for the first time since the Egyptians made it to nationals in 4 back-to-back Game 5 wins, only to lose a Game 5 in it. Okay, yeah.
So they
yeah.
like Game 5s? Okay.
And then they lost the Game 5 last week. So yeah, we've got a 3-0.
3-0.
Poor Sheffield.
Bye.
So now your 10-point game, Trent and UWE.
Oh, that's a nice one.
It's a rematch from EURC last week.
Ooh, it is. Which
Well, that was a 3-2 to Trent.
was it? I thought
That
it
was
was
3-1 to Trent.
3-1
Yeah,
actually.
because that's allowed to
3-1
happen.
you
because
say?
it's, yeah, I
Oh,
mean it's
3-1.
EURC. It's not. It's
3-1
not.
again. 3-1.
Right. Then, will this be Loughborough's destiny against a weakened Portsmouth? How much do you believe in Loughborough's season turnaround?
Well, not enough to win.
Yeah, not enough.
Pretty
It's,
Really?
I mean, they could take away a game.
Oh, really? Really? So it would be a...
Actually, I think because they don't have Psycho, right? I think this could be a 3-2.
I feel
Where-
like... Yeah.
Where then where you think, oh, are Loughborough gonna do it, and then Game 5 is like a 4 or 5-0, where it's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
I
one
guess
of
they
those.
have.
Yeah.
Like, that's a very Loughborough. I like, personally, knowing that it's Psycho missing and not like Geordie, I feel like if Warwick win this game, I actually really think this series will be super interesting if it's Portsmouth-Warwick. Like, really interesting, because I feel like Psycho creates a lot of the opportunities for Portsmouth, even if he's not the one required to put them in. Like, I don't know, like.
If they like I said before, I feel like any team facing Warwick, if you can adapt to their game,
Yeah,
and
but
then
Geordie is
just beat them on
incredibly
speed,
over-aggressive. Like, if Geordie exists,
exactly.
he's going for the ball. Only when he stops existing, when he stops going for the ball. But I think I underestimate Esper, to be honest with you. Like, I think Esper will actually be kind of the reason why they'll be okay, even if they do play Warwick, and why I guess it would make sense to still back them here. Probably. But if you do put 3-1, it will annoy me.
No,
it's a
we
3-2.
did
It's a 3-2.
3-2.
Okay,
Yeah, it's gotta be
that's
juicy
forget
series.
that. There's no more Portsmouth.
Haha.
Yeah, goodbye. The Sussex Warwick. This will be. Oh, this really sucks for the loser of this game that they only get 3 points.
Yeah. Huh.
That's sad.
See, so I think this could legit be a 3-0, like without a joke.
But which way? Either.
two Sussex.
Really?
I see.
Yeah, I genuinely.
We have
I
Warwick's
genuinely-
number one
You're giving
hater
him a lot of
and
credit.
Farrell's lover.
This stand is crazy. This stand is crazy, and I do feel like he.
I
can
mean, you're
create-
confident enough to not just put 3-1 to annoy me. You must really be convinced.
Yeah. No, what? Yeah. No, like
Right,
seriously.
okay,
I
sure.
mean, I played both of the teams last week, right? And
Right.
whereas it's very
Oh, yeah.
close games with
True.
Warwick, I feel like Sussex as a team were just better.
Mhm.
But then Warwick just play this style of game where any game they ever play is going to be a close one. But if they don't create any opportunities in those games, how are they ever going to win them? And I do feel
Yeah.
like Sussex is
Quote
the type-
this when this is one of the results of part of your complete wipe of perfect score predictions. Which also means that I'm going to ban Juicy from convincing Crafty, and Crafty alone can decide who wins out of Brighton and BCU.
Oh boy. I mean, I gotta give this to BCU again.
I see.
I think this is. Yeah, I mean, you love Farrell, I know, but I think it's gonna be super close. It's gonna be super close, but
Yeah, super close,
I do
3-1.
yeah, super close 3-0.
What?
No, it's a 3. Let's make it
Yeah,
3-1.
3.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, you know what?
3-1,
Actually,
just to annoy
you can do the rest, Juicy. Actually, this is Crafty's just like he's entirely wrong.
I'm just meaning you guys.
All right, Q on Newcastle.
So whichever loses this one is definitively out of playoffs to the point where I think a 10-point week wouldn't even save them week 4.
Oh well, I guess.
I mean,
Kiel
isn't
are gonna
Kiel
be
due to
playoffs
play
then.
Newcastle in ERC
I
tomorrow?
agree.
So there'll literally be, if this is the case, then yeah, we will have a preview. Literally the day before.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Q on Newcastle. Yeah,
Oh
but-
yeah.
Oh, that's
True.
nuts.
Literally.
That's
Unfortunately, Hamburg is gonna stump them.
I mean, at this point,
Yeah.
Newcastle will probably be super depressed given that they'll know they'll have thrown their chance at making playoffs, basically.
It's pretty sad if Hamburger just takes out both teams. Then
Nah,
it
no,
doesn't matter what they
I don't
do.
think it's gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
I think Newcastle takes this.
Okay.
Yeah, me
Against
too.
both
Me
Kiel
too.
And against Hamburger.
Yeah.
Is it a 3-2?
But Hamburger.
Or is it a cursed
Nah.
scoreline? Or is it a 3-0?
Do you know what? If this happens because of the games that happened before, where Kiel just got 3-0'd by Paladins, and then yeah, I think it could be a 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you have the issue of you've somehow ended up with the best team in the league here against Salford.
Yeah.
So
That's
I
true,
guess
right?
Salford
That
are Salford are obviously winning.
Nah.
No.
How did we destroy Salford in this? I don't know.
You have them losing
They
their
lost
game
the
to.
first
They have a hard game against Sussex, and then they have
Yeah.
to
Oh, yeah,
prove
they did,
themselves
Which I
against
think is
Sheffield.
fair.
How did they end up here? And now losing to Lancers is gonna be oof.
Yeah, I mean
Nah,
Salford are
do you
like
think they're gonna lose to Lancers?
Yeah.
like if you look at their standings right now, they have
They couldn't even beat NA. What they're gonna do?
8. They have 8.
Did they
Yeah,
play against NA?
they did. They qualified with
I
AA
don't
wrong
understand how you guys are on 15.
because we got a 5-point week, then a 10-point week.
What do you mean? What? Why are you so against us?
Well, no, I'm not against you.
Do you want to
It's
see
just
our
that-
stats
no,
from
like,
week 2? Do you
so-
need
so
to? Do you need to
anything-
see them?
Like around 10
You need to
points.
see
I would
our
100%
stats.
give
This
you
is
guys,
week.
but
This is last
15
week. This is last week.
Okay, so who'd you beat? Who'd you beat?
This is last week. We beat
No,
Trent using a sub and Loughborough.
Wait,
That's
actually
why.
nuts.
No, it's
Oh.
not. It's to be expected. It was Loughborough got to the 10-point game because of Kent, and Kent didn't have their full roster, and they ended up getting relegated despite getting 7 points last week.
So now you're just gonna get 3 OT on last week because it
How
doesn't
the
matter
tables
anymore
have turned.
because you're already gonna make playoffs probably. So you
Well,
don't care.
as long as we don't
There you go,
screw it. But then, like week 1, we probably should have got 10 points too, but we lost in game 5 to Portsmouth.
Ooh.
So that just happens. They needed that. We didn't, obviously.
Yeah, you're gonna make it anyway. So
I mean, when you can put up these numbers, we're fine. Like W.
that is true.
3.31 goals a game. That's a lot of goals.
Yeah, but it also depends on who you play. Like
Okay.
you're not getting that against Portsmouth.
I mean, we nearly did. And then we decided to lose. It should have been 3-1, but things happen.
This
That's
is
for
fucking-
Warwick because they play uninteresting games.
We never get to play Warwick. We never get to play
Yeah.
Warwick or Brighton or Kiel. We literally never get to play them. All of our games are against Newcastle or Trent or Portsmouth or Bath. That's it. That's like over half our games this season will be against those 4 teams.
Right, so we both agree this is going to be a 3-0 to Salford.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Yes. 2. Yes.
There we go.
Right. Anyway, the relegation matches, which actually are of kind of spice, as you have the literal 4. You now have ended up with the 4 promoted teams of the last 2 weeks playing against each other, and 2 of them will fall. So these will be personal. Like you have Sheffield and Bath. You have
Yeah, I
Coventry
don't think-
and Birmingham.
I know. I mean, I basically just haven't seen anything of.
I don't think anyone could say how these games are going to go, really.
I
Not a
feel like
clue.
both of them are going to be 5 games.
Yeah, that could be.
There it is.
I'd probably give it to Sheffield though because I don't know.
Exactly. That's what we like.
Sheffield
I
have
think-
the alliteration going for them.
That is true.
Yes, absolutely, and I don't
Yeah,
like
I'm sorry,
taking a
Ralph.
bath.
Oh, there it is. That's just the convincing point
That's-
right there. I'm sold. Where do I order? That's fantastic.
I was going to say I love bath salts, but I already love Feral. There's no more room for me.
So how are you? But then who wins against Hades from Hertfordshire's amazing score per boost, or University of Birmingham's momentum off just being promoted and just getting swept 3-0 twice, as you've just predicted?
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think.
I mean,
think
they're
we
just gonna smile through it and
lose.
lose.
University of Birmingham just smile while you get relegated for the second time in 3 weeks. That's sad. Are we going to go with a game after getting swept 3-0 twice? You've got them losing in 5.
Which team is Dusk Matty on?
That is University of Birmingham. Just smile.
Alright, then I think Hertfordshire are going to win.
It's personal. Oh, there it is.
Ouch, the
The
burn.
distinguished and totally 100% accurate predictions. Make your own on this sheet, and clearly GC and Crafty are 100% confident that these will be how the points end up, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And with every single
Bet money
score
on it.
correct as well?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I already
okay. Wow. Oh, yeah, and this is true. You betted nothing. I betted more money than nothing. Something tells me that you will not get every score correct, personally, and I really don't think you're going to get every series correct. But that's okay. I believe, aside from the fact that it sucks to end on such incorrect predictions, I don't believe that we have any massive things that we haven't touched on.
I had sent you a DM.
You have sent me a DM. Okay, right. So as all DMs, oh my goodness,
I'm gonna
Cineris
read it
is
out
making a
loud.
mock table based on those predictions, so that given those points, we will know who will be stood where. Which, if we allow for Cineris, obviously, I do not pronounce that incorrectly.
I will be less than 60 seconds. Don't worry.
Less than 60 seconds. Okay, right.
That's how you pronounce it.
Alright, so sing a song now for 60 seconds.
Right. Countdown. Yes. This is what I need in my life right now. Actually, can I get a legitimate round of countdown? Can we actually like play a round? Countdown round. Give me a countdown round. 62 grand final. Let's go. All right, we got this, guys. We got this. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Where's the letters? All right, here we go.
Done.
We don't get the. What do you mean? What do you mean done? I'm going. Stop.
60 seconds.
Oh my goodness, this one's difficult.
Denied.
Oh my lord.
Oh my god.
I'm struggling. I can only think of T-Rex. That's not even a word. I've got a 4. I've got a 5. Ah, that's it. I'm a professional countdown player now.
Wait.
I'm amazing.
I've got a 5.
I've got a 5.
I was so close to get one.
Yeah, so
But then
close.
I realised it was Dutch.
They got a 7 and a 6. Look at these sweaty nerds. I got smear. That was my one.
Yeah, excellent.
They had
My one was
trams.
trams. Oh, unfortunate. Oh well. Right, thank you, Countdown, for that gameplay. Gameplay. All right, so the mock table, which is literally made in proper NSE fashion, which if I open here, we can see, gives us Portsmouth Paladins on 30, Trent on 23, Lancaster 18, UWE 17, BCU 17, Loughborough in playoffs on 16, Sussex just missing out on 15, Salford contending in 13, Warwick still contenders on 13, very outside chances, Newcastle and Brighton, and then pretty much out of it, Eel, Hertfordshire, Sheffield Hallam, Bath, and Birmingham. I mean, well, these just won't exist in nationals anymore, but yes. And that's what you'd like to lock in on that. I mean, you already have. You don't have a choice.
I think it's fair to say that the first 2 teams are definitely going to be the teams that make it. And
to
then,
the LAN. You mean
no, as in for now make it into the playoffs, and then 3 till 8 or something. Wait, let me see. Yeah, so I think 3 to 10-ish are still contenders, but I do feel like Portsmouth Paladins and Nottingham Trent are definitely up there. Nah, Lancers, they're eh.
Yeah. I mean, Trent are looking hot right now.
They are looking hot. And then if you compare it to like a team like Lancers, who are just eh.
Yeah. Miles apart.
This probably illustrates the difficult teams to do badly next week. Look at Warwick and Salford down there on 13 points. If the teams above them get 5 points, which realistically they should, then even 7 points won't be enough to overtake them. They will have to have a week.
yeah.
That is true.
This is literally the setup week that literally tells every team what they have to do. But don't think of it as less important than last week, because you'll be looking back at this week thinking, well, if only we just did better this week, then we wouldn't have had to do something impossible next week. Which is why this is the underrated week of intense importance, which means predictions need to be correct. But that's okay. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. And with that, I believe we gently come to a calm close with no disagreements. Only happiness, correct?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Sure.
Who shall we host? That's the question.
Duh.
Is Countdown
Rocket
streaming?
Street, South American LCS.
Is Countdown streaming?
Isn't Johnny Boy doing the EU Invitational thing?
It's
No,
quite
he's
late.
I
doing
don't
a
think that's-
birthday
yeah.
stream.
I see.
Because rival.
Rival.
What are Rival doing?
Esports, the NA Rival Series.
stream.
Rival Esports. I believe we hosted them last time. This is going to be a nice routine, and obviously they're going to host us next. Right, so Rival Esports. We are hosting them. Thank you all for, listening in. Thank you, Cineros, for being very helpful. Thank you, Deliterus Mac, for being a good guest with correct predictions. And then there's Juicy and Gruffy. So thank you so much for existing. And even if your opinions are mostly wrong, but that's okay. Maybe they'll get proven right. I hope they don't, but I won't rule out that infinitesimally small possibility. So thank you. And you'll be very welcome back next week when we will have a lot more to talk about. Same time, I should hope, next week, talking about the EURC Final 16, that we will know fully, the matchups to come that would be the next day, and we will know what is needed and what is likely in NSE. So that will be interesting, and we won't have a new overlay for it, and it will still say week 1, but that's fine. And yes, we will host Rival Esports. Badoo. There it is, I've clicked enter. So now I'm hosting it, now in a stream.